Are you ready, suckers?
Hey, did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie?
Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle.
Hell yeah, Ajax. And joining us again, the podcaster with a degree in terror, Tony.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, tonight we will be discussing the 1979 action thriller, The Warriors, based on Joel Urich's 1965 novel of the same name. Directed by Walter Hill, starring Michael Beck, James Reamer, Deborah Van Valkenburg, Marcelino Sanchez, David Harris. And as always, this podcast will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. All right, guys, I'm excited about this one. I haven't watched this movie in a while, but I've seen it a shitload of times, and I'm dying to break this one down. So I'm super excited about this. Let's do a couple of quick facts. The character of Cowboy was offered to one Robert De Niro, who turned it down. The part of Vermin was offered to one Tony Danza, who also was forced to turn it down due to a previous what word am I looking for?
Engagement, previous commitment.
Commitment. I'm going to go with commitment. Ding, ding. To, I believe, what was it? Who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
Okay. And Cyrus, the
Or Taxi,
big leader.
depending on when they did this.
I believe it was Who's the Boss that they were getting ready to start doing.
Gotcha.
And Cyrus was cast to a real New York City gang member who disappeared the night before the scene was shot, leading to the casting of Roger Hill, who was just brilliant in his short time on the screen. Tony, what do you got for facts? Anything good?
No.
How professional.
Everything about this movie is just, I love this movie. So this is just going to be one big love fest for me. As far as the facts go, it kept coming down to remembering. I remember being alive. You know, I was 9, I was 10, I was in the movies back then. And all the controversy of all the shootings, quote, all the shootings that happened around the screenings of this movie and then trying to ban it. And looking at it now, it's like a friggin' fairy tale.
Yeah.
It's so funny how this was dangerous back then. And it's laughable if you stop and no gang has a tailor that good on half these gangs. There's the outfits themselves
Those
cost
purple
more
vests.
Or that bad on the flip side, like the orphans, like, hey, everybody gets a dirty coffee stained t-shirt.
Yeah. So it's just like
I love it.
I love this movie. It's just going to come down to that. I'm sure I'll remember them as they come and just like, oh yeah, that and that and that. But as far as basic facts, there was so much controversy. There was so many news articles written about it. And it's just a shoestring budget. No one wanted to touch it when they were trying to get it made. So,
but Tony, they do say that in the 70s, New York City, the Bronx, and those areas were actually. There were these street gangs that, tried to dress, uniform. And, this was not all made up out of.
No, it definitely wasn't. And I know that they had some gang problems on some locations because they were doing a lot of, that was the one thing Robert Hill said. The director said that he wanted to do. He didn't want to build any sets. They literally only built one set for this entire movie. Everything else was on location somewhere in New York City or Coney Island. Which is really impressive because that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're only shooting at night in the summer. So it's like you got 6-7 hours at most. But no, it's just you're 100%. I have this romanticized obsession with Taxi Driver, The Warriors, like 1970s New York City. It's just grimy, dirty 42nd Street before it got cleaned up. It looks like such an amazing time to visit it. Granted, it's probably dangerous, and I would have went
Super
there if I was
dangerous.
in my 20s.
Yeah,
but there's something about when they film it, like any Scorsese movie that takes place in the 70s. Like, oh, I love the neon. I love the wet streets, the taxis, the whole thing. It's slimy, sleazy, and just
Yeah, he was
awesome.
hosing those streets down for effect before shots.
Oh yeah,
That was done intentionally because he liked the way it looked. Yeah, it's funny because they talk about how, like, for instance, in the scene in the park, there were real gang members there. They were mixed in with, these actors and whatnot. And the guy who plays my favorite, the leader of the Rogues.
oh David Patrick Kelly.
Yes, he says that
What is he,
during that,
Luther?
yeah, Luther,
Yeah,
during that shoot, I guess some real gang members came up to him and they said, what, you the sheriff? Because he had the little badge on. He's like, yes, I am. I guess they just kind of went off, but he was like, man, it was intimidating. There were real gang members on set, and during shooting there was a double homicide that halted shooting for a couple of days. It happened near the location they were shooting. I mean, this movie was serious, man. There was a lot going on around it. And
I guess just at the time, it's like it probably was, but looking at it now, it's like that versus looking at Colors, with Sean
Oh
Penn
yeah.
right,
and that's a whole different level of scary to me. I
yeah,
don't
Oh
know
yeah.
why, but that shit scares me. The 70s, like, oh, yeah, that's cute, pat, pat, pat. I mean, I would have been terrified back then, but it's just looking at it now in historical eyes. It's
it's
two totally different flavors.
Yeah, I mean, New York in the 70s was like no friggin' joke. Like it was like a DMZ. You wouldn't want to go through some of those neighborhoods for anything. I mean, I wasn't alive through it, but I've seen plenty of pictures of just like ruined streets and kids just wandering around, and it's like,
well,
ugh, it was a rough scene before
I
they
mean,
cleaned it up and made everything, $3,000 to rent a square foot.
in 1990, I was living in New York City in the Village, and there was a stretch when I was homeless, and I was literally walking the streets at night with my girlfriend. We would go to a pool hall in the Village. It was open all night, and we would go there. And the guy that ran it, he finally was like, "Hey, what's going on with you guys? You're in, you're hanging out with your suitcases and stuff." And his name was Max, and he ran the place at night. He was really nice. He let us stay there for a few nights, and then he asked me if I would paint the bathrooms in there, which I did, and he let me do that to stay there in the pool hall at night. And then eventually he let me move into a building that he owned in the area. It was like maybe 2 blocks from the pool hall, right in the Village. It was on Christopher Street, and it was completely vacant. He was getting ready to sell it. I think he'd inherited it from his family or something. And there was his apartment on the bottom floor, which was nice and had electricity, but the rest of it was all abandoned and torn to shit. So he gave me and my girlfriend an apartment there that had no electricity. He ran an extension cord up to our apartment. So we had one cord. The bathroom, no ceilings. There were rats, there were roaches, but it was free, and we lived there. And I paid my rent by painting all of the bathrooms in the entire building. There were probably 50 apartments in there, and I painted all the bathrooms with this like oil paint. And yeah, I mean, it was a tough, weird time, but I wouldn't trade it in for the world. It was the ultimate adventure. It really was.
Wasn't Christopher Street notoriously cruising at that time? We'll say.
No, not
Okay.
really. It was. I mean,
Okay.
at that time when I was there, the whole all of Greenwich Village was just rock and roll. You had the scrap bar. Just kids walking around with leather jackets and long hair.
Trash and vaudeville.
Yeah, you had Washington Square Park where you go to buy your weed, and it was awesome, man. I mean, it was dangerous for sure. I mean, even then, it was dangerous. I mean, get yourself killed in a heartbeat in New York.
You lived to tell the story.
I lived to tell the story, but I was taking chances I probably shouldn't have been taking it 19 years old. So, but yeah, fake ID. I was having a good time. So Tony, just quickly, what you were saying about the way this movie looked and 1970s, Taxi Driver and all that. What I love so much about that movie Joker was how a modern day movie captured that essence on film. If you told me the Joker was filmed in the late 70s to mid 70s, I believe it all day long. What did you
Oh
think?
yeah, just just the shadows, the darkness. It was just a very it was a they filmed it very darkly.
Yeah.
Everything was subways, everything was wet, everything was alleyways. It wasn't a happy city. It wasn't the Tim Burton Gotham that we know. It's more of a realistic slummy city, and that's what New
Yeah.
York was during that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually a really good point.
They could have so easily gone Tim Burton, but like when you're trying to create all these gangs, like I thought that they showed just enough to restraint. I mean, they got creative, but it didn't get goofy. It didn't get gay. It's like
If I'm being attacked by a group full of fucking mimes, I'm gonna
But
laugh.
no,
All
okay.
right?
So
The
I was on
mimes
the fence.
crossed. Yeah.
No, I was on the fence with this though, the mimes, right? Because I was like, oh, it could have been so goofy. Like they could have looked like Billy Crystal. But no, they're wearing the black and red stripes. Their faces look cool. I could still see these mimes looking menacing if I was like on a train in 79 and these guys got on the train. I would be nervous. I'd be like,
And my first question was like, how are they assaulting me? Then I can't talk. They're gonna walk.
they're not. They
pull out.
okay. Okay.
It's like, come on.
Okay. Dylan,
I
what do
mean,
you got?
and,
for
Anyway.
facts?
and quite frankly, you gotta the punks. Are you kidding me? They all look like Chucky. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
Dude,
not
these guys,
frightening.
no way. They
Not
are
frightening.
frightening. Dude, if you were downtown crossing tomorrow when these guys showed up at 11:30, you were on your way home from old lady night at Man Ray, you'd be shitting your pants. You'd be
I would
shitting your
push that
pants.
kid over the edge onto
Oh,
the rails.
Fuck you would.
He's on roller skates. He's a fucking easy target.
Yeah,
Dude,
you don't
so-
fight with roller skates on. That's just fucking stupid. But we'll get to that.
Oh, God, so, yesterday, Delin like tackled me on the stairs and got on top of me, and I just learned like this fucking Kimura move. I'm like, oh, I got it. This is it. So I'm in fucking full guard, and I grab her, but I forget to do something because I'm on a gummy, and she pins my arm down and starts. So I'm like, ow, it hurts. Get off. Okay,
He's a tough guy.
I don't
No,
think
not
his
at all.
sensei would have liked that.
Delin, do you have any facts on this movie?
No.
Okay, how professional, how prepared. Okay, let's do the fast five. Tony, I love doing these with you because I love coming up with shit to throw at you. This is called the Fast Five, Final Girl Showdown.
Yeah.
I use the word final girls loosely, so don't hold me to the flames on this. I know a lot of these girls didn't actually die, but they are famous for being final girls. So,
All right.
okay. Number
Love these.
one, Jess Bradford, Black Christmas, or Mary Collingwood, Last House on the Left. What do you got, Tony?
I gotta go for a Black Christmas.
Dylan.
Mary suffered a lot, so I can't count her.
Okay.
Poor girl.
Dylan.
I'm gonna go with Jess. I liked her hair.
I'm going to go with Jess as well. The correct answer is Jess, Black Christmas. Okay. Number two, Laurie Strode, Halloween, or Alice Hardy, Friday the 13th. Tony.
Yeah, I
You made
love
him mad.
I love Alice. I mean, anyone who's up for strip monopoly is my kind of girl. But you gotta give it to Jamie. You gotta give it to Jamie Lee. She's the original. No one beats her.
Dylan.
Jamie Lee Curtis. She's a queen.
Yeah, it's Laurie Strode. Halloween. Correct answer. Number three, Sidney Prescott, Scream, or Sally Hardesty, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Tony.
Yeah. Fuck. If they left Sally in the first one and just stopped, I would say Sally because those scenes of her screaming make it so stressful. That entire movie is stressful because of her, and her reaction is so genuinely frightening. But then they brought her back in the last one, and it was terrible. I mean, Gore was great, but no. I'm going to go with Sydney. I love Sydney. Held up for more money. Good for you.
What do you got?
I know somebody's gonna crucify me for this, but I like Scream way better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I enjoy the laughs. What can I say? To me, that makes a multi-dimensional product. So I'm gonna go with Nev Campbell.
Okay, so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre might be genuinely the scariest horror movie of all times.
Yeah,
and
true.
it was made in the 70s. That's fucking terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying visually, but it's such a great horror movie because someone that hates slasher movies, I hate this shit. I watched the Chainsaw Massacre and it's magical because it's a smart horror movie. Oh, it's so good. So the correct answer is Sally Hardesty, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because Scream is a satire comedy and it's gay, even though it's great. It can't hold up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Says
Number
you.
4, Nancy Thompson, A Nightmare on Elm Street, or Juno Kaplan, The Descent. Tony.
Juno died, so I gotta give it to Nancy.
Dylan.
Yeah, same. Juno is basically the villain of that movie, if you ask me. So I'm gonna go with Nancy. I mean,
Yeah.
up for debate.
She came back
but...
in the sequel. She came back in the sequel.
Oh, did she?
Again, she did, but it
Interesting.
shouldn't have been made because the British one is the real ending where everybody dies, so it doesn't matter.
Juno Kaplan is not only a final girl, but also a killer and cold-blooded and vicious. So the correct answer is Juno Kaplan, The Descent. You're both wrong. Okay. Number 5, Ellen Ripley. And these aren't horror movies, but these are two that just have to go head-to-head tonight. Ellen Ripley.
Oh, you're going to do fucking Terminator, aren't you?
Alien or Sarah Connor, Terminator.
Oh,
Tony,
Fuck
what do you got?
why not just have me kill one of my children? You know, it's like
Yeah.
you can't choose it.
You have to.
I have to say, unfortunately, Ellen Ripley, because
Handle it.
awesome.
Because why?
No, just go.
So, but do you feel like when she came back and did the one with what's her face there, Winona Ryder? Do you think that it lessened the Ripley magic?
No, we're only talking
only
about
because
the
she's a
original.
robot. Only because she was a robot, so I forgave that. So her performance was worth
so
it.
it wasn't really her; she was a robot.
We're pretending that
Okay.
there was only one of each movie made.
Yeah, but the thing is Aliens is probably a better movie
Yeah,
than
all right.
Alien.
If we're going Aliens, I'm going to change it.
No, okay, just a character, just overall character.
Overall character, all right, Ellen Ripley.
Okay.
Ellen.
Ellen. Yeah.
All Linda Hamilton did is give birth.
Sarah Connor is
Oh no,
bordering.
I mean she kicks ass, but
In the second one, she totally kicked ass. Oh my god. But we're only talking about it. Yeah.
Sarah
And she
Connor.
jumped out for Lena Headley anyway, so it's not fair. That
Sarah
TV show was
Connor
awesome.
is bordering on a mullet, and she just, I don't know, man. It's Ellen Ripley. It's not even close.
Oh god.
Okay. The correct answer is Ellen Ripley, Alien.
Fuck yeah.
All right. So let's see here. What else do we got? Box office with a budget of $14 million and a box office return of, with a budget of $4 million and a box office return of $16.4 million. This was considered a huge success for the time. And it might have done even better if two people weren't killed in theaters. One shot, one stabbed, both in California. And there were also gang fights and riots leading to the movie being prematurely taken out of theaters. So, and I like that. I like a little mystique, a little lore around a movie like this. Yeah.
I love it when somebody gets killed going to see a movie.
Hey, small price to pay.
There's a reason they tell you why the exits are where they are in the beginning of the movie.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Let's do some quick opening thoughts and then we will break it down. So yeah, seen this movie a million times. Love it. Couldn't wait to go back and revisit it and see if it, held the test of time. And this time I did watch the director's cut, which had the comic book inserts. And I thought it was dude, for such a small little edition, it really elevated this movie. It added some budget that it needed. It added some just flavor to something that already had so much flavor. I really loved it. If you're a purist, I could see you saying, but this is the original concept, and I thought that it really bumped it up a notch for me. Tony, what do you think?
Easily in my top 30 movies of all time. Just love this movie. Agreed. Same thing. I think today is the first time I've actually watched that director's cut with the comic inserts. I've always heard about it. And I'm like, all right, let me watch that because it's the version I actually have on Blu-ray. And I understand it. I dug it. It made it even more fairy tale-ish than I remember it being. Yeah. It almost made it a kid's movie. If they didn't say fuck a lot and have a gang called the Lizzies, I would probably show it. I'd probably show it to Nick.
Okay.
I give him another year or two.
Dylan, what do you got?
I also loved the comic book transitions. It's interesting too because I think I've only seen this once, maybe twice before, and I didn't remember the comic book transitions, and I didn't realize it was a director's cut. I just happened to get lucky, but I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. It's stylized." I was digging it. I feel like some of the wardrobe in this movie is fucking outrageous, and some of it's like perfect. I feel like some of it went a little too far, but we'll get into that as we go along. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right, let's get into it. I will give you a quick synopsis. A street gang known as the Warriors must bop their way from the Bronx to their home turf on Coney Island, where they are falsely accused of assassinating a respected gang leader. Can you dig it, man? Let's get some wool. Okay.
Let's go. Let's go get a silk pajamas set, because that's pretty much what his entire gang was wearing.
He's like Mr. Furley. Or no, that would be Mr. Furley.
Mr. Roper, because it was she wore the caftans.
No, but Furley wore the silk suits and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley
Furley
just wore the sweater.
Yeah,
You're right.
Stanley. Oh man, I actually model our relationship after Stanley. Like, I say fucking rude shit to Dylan, and then I kind of look over my right shoulder and smile as if there's a camera.
Fake
there.
camera.
Yeah, it makes it okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, Dylan.
All right. As night falls over Coney Island, Cleon, leader of the Warriors, meets up with 8 of his most trusted lieutenants to travel by subway to the faraway Bronx. They will be attending an event called by a man named Cyrus, described as the one and only. Throughout the city, other gang delegations are seen entering the subway in their full colors. As the Warriors speculate about the event during their subway ride, we learn that Cyrus is the leader of the largest gang in the city, the Gramercy Riffs, and he has called a truce of all the gangs in New York. He wants an unarmed delegation of 9 from each gang to come to a mass meeting to hear what he has to say. Some of the Warriors are excited at the prospect, while others are skeptical. So I'm going to pause here because this is actually kind of like a pretty decent sized opening chunk. You know, you get these guys all... I thought that this was probably the weakest part of the movie, was when they would just like talk to each other and they were kind of giving you like an info dump at the beginning. I feel like you could have had the same conversations with them all just standing around on the subway train. But
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you're gonna lose this one, Dylan.
Okay, that's fine. This is just how I feel about it, but you guys go ahead.
They had an intro song. They had 3.5 minutes of worth of music. You learned what we're going to get into, who everybody was, the attitudes of everybody, the way that they interacted with each other, who had balls, who didn't. You literally got all that in 3 minutes. You couldn't have even gotten a Star Wars scroll that could have given us what this 3-minute song did before they got there. I thought it was like the perfect info dump. You didn't have to because any conversation they're going to have, I feel like it's going to be worked in. This was just bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. He's angry. He's not. He's the new kid. He's the veteran, So it gave us everything we needed right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tony, you know what was so clever about the way they did it? Now, had they done it all in a circle, like on the platform in one shot, you might have got confused. But what he did was he took out the little pieces that you absolutely needed to know, and he gave them each 2 guys at a time, like 10 seconds to give you their origin, who they are, what they're going to be. They give us the rules. So we get some exposition between Cleon and Swan, revealing the Warriors, one, have never even been to the Bronx before. So these guys are like Coney Island boys. They don't even go into the city. We also get the 9 rules. 9 guys, no weapons. And then we learn the basic personality and position of each warrior and what their part is in the gang. And it's fucking brilliantly done. The only shink in that armor is, so they shot this entire movie in order. Everything was shot in exact order. So you could see that these actors were very green, and these very, very opening scenes, they hadn't quite got into the flow. So, hey, maybe we get some woe when we get into the city, brother. I hear he's a heavy act. This all loosened up a little bit about 20 minutes into the movie. I was fine with it. I really liked it. So I love the way the movie looks when it breaks in. And the way it sounds is even better. The soundtrack from what's his name, Barry D. Verzon.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
all synth. All synth.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's so good. It's so anxious. It's just an anxious score. Um, and then they toss in, all the blood in the writing. It's just so good looking. I thought the Warriors looked great. I thought the vests and emblems on these vests looked organic and tough. They did not look like Hollywood's goofy idea of what a gang vest might look like in the 70s. And I thought these guys looked like what a gang would look like in 1970 from New York City. I mean, some of them in their early 20s. Swan is 30. They look
Well, see,
tough.
that's what the thing that I think everybody forgets, and me included, is that these are supposed to be like late high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's the funny thing. These aren't adult gangs. These are like high, because they say, "Oh yeah, my youth worker talks about you guys all the time." It's like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be 18. No. So I mean, outside of that glaringly obvious, like that they couldn't do it. Yeah. As far as the Warriors look like a gang, we have ones coming up now. I'm like, you can't fight in that. That's unhealthy. It's like, it's just, we'll get there.
I thought the use of the transit map was really cool. It was a great tool for letting us know where the Warriors were going to be during this movie, so we weren't lost in New York with them. This is where we're going. This is where we're going to get off. This is where the train goes. This is where the fire happens. It's
And
really tight.
how far it is, like how long it took them to trace it.
Yeah.
It gives you like, wow, they're really traveling.
They're deep in the city. And, and with that exposition in the beginning telling us they've never even been to the Bronx before, we understand why they're lost in New York once they have to leave the train. It's really good storytelling. The gangs, all right? So my favorite gang, like I said earlier, was the Rogues. I love this gang. They're like a badass New York sleaze metal band in the late 80s. Like, this is like LA Guns with like the Dogs D'Amour and the London Choir Boys. Like, it's with a little of like a modern band Jet mixed in. Like, I love this gang. And Luthor.
I love that Jet is modern to you.
Okay, and Luther is
Mr. Luthor.
and Mr. Luthor.
Went all Ned Beatty on us there. That was great.
This guy Luther literally looks exactly like the singer of the Dogs D'Amour, Tyler. His face, his hair, his clothes, everything. I love this fucking gang.
So the three people that are out there who know the Dogs D'Amour, you're actually right.
And so David Patrick Kelly, he plays Luther. He also plays a very similar character in 48 Hours, also named Luther. And coincidentally, James Raymer, who plays Ajax, also appears in 48 Hours as an extremely similar character, Gans.
Well, see, when it comes to Luther, I'd like to think he survived the beating at Coney Island.
Yes.
And ended up having to leave, and he had to move to Chicago.
Dude,
and he got involved with this guy named Tintin and Top Dollar, and they killed this guy and his girlfriend in his high rise. So I think that's where he ended up.
and Ajax wound up there too. And Ajax was also running crime there, got involved with Luther, and and Luther stole his money, and fucking Ajax is now looking for him under another name. Gans.
Or he went under a different persona altogether. Decided to settle down. He found a kid inside of a train, container surrounded with blood, whose mother's been killed. He raises him to be a blood splattered expert, and then his sister turns out to be the cop. So which timeline are we going here?
I'm going with everything you just said. It's perfect. So 48 Hours is directly connected to this movie. Okay.
Yeah, Walter Hill directed both. Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of these bands. The Electric Eliminators. Bands, gangs, whatever. Electric Eliminators. These yellow jackets. Yes, please. I want one. Okay.
I want the satin.
Yeah. We get the black t-shirt gang. Okay. We get the Prince and the Pimps gang. They're purple and black with their fedoras. We get the Mimes. Weird idea, but like I said earlier, I thought they looked great.
And it doesn't hold a candle to Baseball Furies.
I didn't want to blow my load on the
I
Baseball
just
Furies.
shot all over you. Fucking
But the
Baseball
Baseball
Furies are
Fury.
the best fucking thing about this movie.
Ever.
Fucking love the Baseball Fury. If you remember anything about the Warriors, all you see is that fucking yellow face with the black eye swinging the bat. It's like that's what you remember.
100%. And I know that I'm going ahead of myself, but that was exactly what I remember. I remember Baseball Furies. I remember the guy with the yellow face, and I do not remember the beating that guy takes.
Well, he actually broke 3 ribs badly and acted through the pain. So yeah, pretty interesting. So you see he's really hurt. Yeah, really great. I thought they didn't. I don't think they jumped the shark with any of these bands, any of these gangs. I thought that with giving us like 50 different gangs, they did a really good job. There was nothing too stupid like Cat in the Hat hats or something just like that. I just couldn't roll with. And
not the 90s.
The way they're talking about Cyrus,
90s, right?
the way they're talking about Cyrus, he's magic, man. He's magic. He's the one. Is he Neo? Is he Neo? I mean,
can we talk about how they did Cleon dirty with that dirty dish rag on his head? Like,
oh God.
It's not good. It's not good. You could have given him like, I get that he's kind of going for like the Arabian Night look.
I loved it
thing, but it's like it's a dish towel.
It's
a
great.
Dish towel.
It's great. You're wrong again. Okay. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling.
All right. Rolling on. At Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, the meeting is well attended with over 100 gangs represented. The charismatic Cyrus takes the stage and delivers a spellbinding speech. He says that instead of fighting each other over turf, they could unite to form an army of 60,000 soldiers, compared to only 20,000 police in the whole city. He punctuates his point with, "Can you dig it?" to the crowd's wild response. Outside the meeting area, the police are seen silently moving in. Most of the crowd is enthralled by Cyrus's vision, but one member has his own agenda. Luther, the psychotic leader of a gang called the Rogues, has snuck a gun into the gathering. At a high point in the speech, Luther fires at Cyrus, killing him instantly. When Cyrus falls back, there's a brief stunned silence, followed by pandemonium. The crowd was so fixated on Cyrus, they hardly saw anyone hardly saw who fired the shot. But Luther turns to see that Fox from the Warriors has witnessed. He points the gun at him to kill him, but just at that moment, the police spotlights come on and it blinds Luther. Fellas, what do you think? I want to know where the gun came from. Who had it up their bum?
Pick a fella.
I want to know who had the gun up the bum.
There was no frisking. That was the thing is like at the end, Swan pulls out a switchblade. He didn't just pick that up on the side of Coney Island.
Oh, no, he said he took it from the punks. He said he took the switchblade from the punks.
Yeah. Shit, you're right. Wow, good job. You showed me.
Well, I've been wrong the rest of the night, so.
Yeah, just that. I mean, the fucking Cyrus speech. It is inspiring. He does a great job. All the numbers work out. The math is there. It all makes sense. My question is, I'm sitting there watching it as an older guy now going like, all right, so you make the decisions. Who's the secondary? All these gangs aren't going to argue. When you're a kid, this is like, yeah, we're all going to do this. Now I'm like, I've been in corporate culture too long. It's like, all right, who's number 2? Who's number 3? Who's going to like fuck over somebody? You know, it's just, it's such a great speech. He does such a great job. Everybody, and this is what I do because I'm a jerk. Jaws, my perfect movie ever, Jaws. When they're all running in after Alex Skinner dies, there are people laughing. You got the big, long, langy guy pulling people out and laughing. This warrior scene, there's no one just standing there. I searched the crowd looking for someone like, he didn't follow direction. Everybody, every single person in this crowd is into this. It's so, for again, low budget, very dated movie. It's like it gives you the chills when he like puts his arms up, yells, and everybody roars back. Oh, great! Can't say enough.
Tony, you took the words out of my mouth. This whole scene, one, it felt big. Like it could have felt small and janky. Like they could have like put like 30 guys in one section and then moved them and put 30 guys. No, this felt like a big group of people. Felt like I thought the speech from Cyrus, over the top, but without becoming comical. It was cool. And like you said, I love this speech. He is trying to organize the mob. He's like, we could be the mafia. Let's do this. And it was really good. There's 2 guys not buying it. Okay. Luther and Ajax. Ajax looks over at his guys and he's like, Are you guys fucking kidding me? This dude is a loser in his fucking silk suit. I should be up there. Yeah, like
Everybody's a wimp.
Everybody, no. Everybody's a faggot. Every 2 seconds coming out of Ajax's mouth. Where you going, faggot? Yeah. Is he a faggot? Who's a faggot? You know who I think's a faggot? I think Ajax might be a little bit. I think there's something going on with Ajax because anybody who uses the slur faggot that much is dealing with some inner hatred, you know?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is this meeting is based on a real thing that happened. There was a guy who was trying to do this exact thing. He was trying to unite the gangs as much as he could, and he did get killed. And instead of what happened in the movie, it actually brought everyone together. And they started having like block parties, peaceful block parties. And they say that part of it is where hip hop was born. So interestingly enough, hip hop came from this culture in New York City of gangs getting together. And I thought that was really interesting when I read that.
So look at that. You had a fact the whole time.
I like to just throw you off. What can I say?
So I did love I loved the way the scene was shot with Luther shooting Cyrus. It was great. We're going to get it framed almost perfectly around Luther. It's an up close shot. He fires the gun and then it goes to Cyrus. And it's so good. He looks insane. I love it.
And he shot directly at the camera. So he's literally shooting us.
Yeah.
Like, and I love David Patrick Kelly. I haven't gone off on him. I will later.
Love him.
But it's just like every movie he's in, it's like, oh, good, he's here. Even if it's like a 2-second scene, it's like he's so good. And Luther, you're right, he's such a slime. You know, so it's like, oh, so good.
I knew this guy back in like fucking late 80s, early 90s. I knew guys like this. Love him.
Having a good time.
Yeah. For what? Okay, go ahead.
For what? Yeah, that was crazy. All right, so let's move on. Cleon walks towards the middle of the chaos to see whether Cyrus survived. Luther begins screaming to the crowd. That's him, the guy who shot Cyrus. Another member of the Rogues also claims to have seen Cleon shoot Cyrus. Cleon denies it, but Luther continues to scream, the Warriors did it, the Warriors did it, and charges at Cleon. Cleon holds his own in a fight against the Rogues, but when the Gramercy Riffs martial arts experts step in, they bring Cleon down with kicks and elbows. Cleon presumably has been killed, even though it does not happen in front of us, which is probably for the best. The other warriors break through a wooden fence to make their escape, winding up in a cemetery as the rest of the police rush into the park and the various gangs flee. They take a head count and determine that everyone is there except for Cleon. Swan, the second in command, states that they're going to the subway to catch a train back to Coney Island. Ajax gives Swan some trouble about why he's in charge, but the others tell Ajax to stand down. For now, Ajax backs down. The warriors worry that the truce is over and they will have to fight their way across other gangs' territories, vulnerable because they're wearing their colors and are not armed. So I would just like to say, I was never more disappointed than when the guy named Rembrandt is told to tag and he makes the most janky red W I've ever seen. I'm like, wait a second, why is your name Rembrandt? You can barely write.
Oh my God. Yeah. That actor I saw, he actually died of AIDS just a couple of years after this movie was released.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, because I was looking at, where are they now thing. And like the guy who played Ajax, he still looks fucking phenomenal. And same with Swan. And a lot of these guys aged really, really well. But unfortunately, the actor who played Rembrandt did not live much past the filming.
They're always at the Rhode Island Comic Con.
Oh, really?
And I went down a couple of years ago, and it was Vermin, Swan, Cochise, and Cowboy. Nice. And all of them had their vests on. They were doing photo ops. Again, all just like, can't believe we're here. Can't believe we're doing this for this movie, but we're happy.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because his name isn't even connected to the movie at all. He demanded.
I'm not Cowboy.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. The other black guy.
The other warrior?
The other black guy. There's Cochise, and then there's the other guy.
I forget.
The one who goes to the Lizzies. With Cleon, thank you.
Yeah. No, Cleon's the one that's dead. Cleon's dead. He's the leader.
Well, then I don't know. Okay.
Vermin. Vermin.
No.
Is it
Nope,
Vermin?
Vermin's the Italian.
Vermin's the
okay.
Italian.
Vermin Smith. Vermin likes the wool.
Who doesn't?
I'm gonna stop.
It's
Hold on.
all right. We can move on.
Yeah, I'm on IMDb, so I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay, it doesn't matter. So let me
Snow.
let me
Snow. His name is Snow.
Yeah, his name is Snow. Great name. Great names for all these guys. So I thought the police raid, I thought it felt big. I thought it felt chaotic. I thought the movie had a real world feel, and it's because they opted to shoot it on the streets of New York in the 1970s. So it felt great. It didn't feel like Hollywood bullshit to me. It just didn't. It was a tough movie, even though it was kind of satire and it was a little goofy. It still had edge. Poor Cleon, he's a badass. You see how quickly he takes out a couple of dudes, but street fighter against, a mob of martial artists. I felt bad for him. And again, I love the character of Ajax, and he was always my favorite watching this growing up. But watching it tonight, like, I just thought it was a strange character, and I thought it was a strange, there's no question that when they were writing the lines for Ajax, they were going out of their way to keep including the word faggot over and over. And it was intentionally, this is an intentional choice the writer was making. And it made me think, is he trying to make me read into this character? Is this guy struggling with an inner identity crisis? The way he treats women in the movie, for instance, the lady on the bench, it's entrapment. I mean, this is entrapment by a police officer. It just is. We're going to get to it.
We're going to get to that.
But he doesn't.
But he's like that with Mercy, too.
Yes.
He's not nice to her at all.
No, he's like that with Mercy. And the police officer gives him the opportunity to come on to her, but he's like, let me show you how I like it. I like to get rough with the ladies because I hate the ladies. I had to hate the ladies. I don't know why.
Okay.
There's our soundbite for the show right now.
Wow. Somebody needs to. Do you need to take another gummy?
No, you have to. No, don't start marking that down. It's a character building moment that you have to shed light on. I know it's uncomfortable, but you have to.
I hate to say it, and I've never thought that until you raised it. Now you're like, damn, that's pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah.
But I just took it as everybody has that one friend who does that. Now, is he like that? Some of mine have turned out that way. But there's always that one guy who's like, oh, you faggot. It's just, it was the times.
Yeah.
I mean, we all made fun of you fucking gay.
But gay is different. We all say gay
is different than faggot, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, gay is just something we say daily because it's just, inbred into us. But the other word is a slur, and it's an aggressive use of words. And if I had a friend that was continuously saying that to me, I'd be like, we're done here, dude. We're done here. I can't do this with you anymore. Okay, let's move on.
All right. Meanwhile, the Gramercy Rift's new leader, Masai, addresses the Rifts at their underground hideout. He wants the Warriors alive if possible. The Rift informs a local DJ, and she puts the word out on the radio, urging all local gangs to be on the lookout and capture or kill the Warriors. She dedicates the song Nowhere to Run to them. As the song plays, gangs throughout the city are getting ready to hunt down Cyrus's assassins. The Warriors wait for a train outside an elevated train station so that they'll not be ambushed on an open platform. A school bus filled with a tough-looking skinhead gang known as the Turnbull ACs begin patrolling the area. When the train arrives, the Warriors make a break for it and barely make the train. Masai is informed of the Turnbull's failure. Meanwhile, Luther gets a telephone update from an informant and learns that the Rifts have put word out on the street that they want the Warriors alive. The Rogues don't want the Warriors taken alive since they're going to talk, so Luther tells his crews that they're going to do some looking too. I love the DJ because she's a fantastic way to take you from one scene to another scene without having to see all the crap in between. She just takes you to the next place, and she helps keep it moving. And, of course, it gets you some fun music in there, too.
Yeah, and it's 1970s social media. I mean, this is how the word is being spread,
Mm-hmm.
This is Twitter.
Using the terminology, that only they would understand,
Exactly. I think that Ajax would have fucking cleaned Swan's clock if they had fought it out for Warlord. I think that Swan was savvier and more streetwise and slick. But I think just mano a mano throwing down in that park, bare knuckles. I think Ajax had him covered. Because people say that he backed down to Swan. He didn't. He backed down to the entire gang. Ajax badass.
Yeah,
No,
well,
I
you
totally.
also can't equate toughness with leadership ability, and Swan has more leadership ability.
Swan is the clear choice, which is why the gang backed him. But I'm
Right.
just saying, it's people talk about, when you talk about this movie, people say Ajax backed down to Swan at that moment. He absolutely did not back down to Swan, and he would have beat Swan's ass. And Ajax proves himself over and over in this movie to be the real deal. He is the enforcer. He is a badass. He doesn't lose a fight except to a bench. I don't know why he didn't kick that board out. He could have.
Same thing I always think. No, he's totally the muscle of the gang. You got the tagger, you got the boss, you got the war chief, and he's definitely the muscle. And he I think you're 100% right. I think he totally would kick the shit out of Swan, and it would have totally turned things into chaos.
Yeah,
But the
because
fact
he
that
couldn't run that
you
crew.
can see everybody else's face, they're like, dude, step it down.
Yeah.
So.
He couldn't run the crew. I mean, Ajax would have just been like, first of all, can we just discuss them not taking the vests off at this moment and going and finding like 5 different colored t-shirts so they don't match, and they're just 5 dipshits from Coney Island lost in the city? I mean, where are you from?
That's
Jersey.
pride.
Where are you from?
Pride.
Jersey.
You didn't watch Sons of Anarchy? Jesus, you don't let those colors hit the dirt.
Listen,
No.
the colors are coming off until we're back in fucking, like, everybody
You're a wimp.
Oh, fuck
Wimp.
you. Okay. Yeah.
We'll get some wool, you faggot.
I got tapped out by my wife on our stairs yesterday. So there you go. So let's talk about the riffs. It was. It didn't lead anywhere though. Let's talk about the riffs. So I love this. Okay. So a lot of comparisons are made in this movie to military. If you watch a lot of the the things on this on YouTube and stuff, there's a lot of exposition put in that sounds like military talk. And when we meet the riffs, you've got basically what is a drill sergeant, and he's barking at them like a drill sergeant. They're all dressed in their, orange bathrobes, and none of them will make eye contact with the drill sergeant. And I love the way this outfit looks. It looks dangerous. It looks organized. Like, these guys scare me. I think that the drill sergeant is the same guy in the Beat It video in the white leather jacket. Like,
I don't think so.
It's not.
There's a great shot of him with the close up with the sunglasses, and you can see the gang. It's such a great shot. Great shot.
They use it twice. They use that same shot again on the beach in the final scene when the riffs show up.
It's so good. Do it twice. It's okay.
It is, and this movie just looks so great. The close up of the DJ talking to this woman with the red light. It's fucking amazing. While that song "Nowhere to Run" plays, we get this montage of all the gangs, and tell me this doesn't feel like it's straight out of Streets of Fire. Like, I'm like, this is Streets of Fire. Here we are. But better. Oh, it's so good.
See, all right, good. I thought you were like ragging on it. I'm like, this is the second quote montage that it's second and only to Goodfellas walking through the Copa for the first time.
Yes.
When you're getting this is who he is, this is what he does, this is how important he is. This scene lays out this is what you're up against for the rest of the movie.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it was also written by the guy who did all the synth music as well.
The woman who's the DJ is the she's the bitch in Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
she's the one who tries to get Crazy Joe out.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's become pop culture, this scene with this woman.
Oh God, yeah.
It's you just see it, you recognize it. We get the shot of the page turning cartoon that brings us into the next scene. So sexy. Like, after seeing it now, I can't imagine going back to the old version of the movie. These shots really bring this thing up a notch and just shine it up and make it just a little more modern and make the budget feel a little bit bigger. Yeah,
I think it takes the dark edge away from it. I disagree. I like it because I'm a geek and I love the creep show look and all that. But knowing the original without it, it's a darker. To me, it makes it feel darker. It makes it feel not kid like. It makes it feel not as satirish, even though some of the outfits may be. It's still a dark movie.
Right.
I agree.
Talking about the riffs, just to take a step back, the riffs of this uniformed army, and 16 to 20-year-olds is what they're supposed to be. I wish today they could go and get an army full of kids and make this movie right. That's the one thing that kept taking me out, because so many of these people were obviously late 20s, possibly early 30s.
See, I never thought that they were.
it.
I never thought they were supposed to be young. Like, I liked it. Some of them, like Rembrandt, felt young, but then like some of these guys, like Swan and Ajax, they just felt like guys from Coney Island that just fucking lost their way. They're in their 30s now. They're still bopping around with these gangs. I just thought it felt more desperate, and I never even put into my mind these guys are too old for the parts. I like watching men fight. I don't watch boys fight. Fucking stakes are higher. Stakes are higher.
I can't agree with anything you're saying. So
Okay.
I can't argue it. It's just both ways. It's the one thing that when I watch it, I'm like, supposed to be teenagers, supposed to be kids.
I like the look of Ajax and Swan. These guys are jacked and they're ripped and they're men and it's serious. And I don't want to watch 17-year-old kids that haven't developed into their bodies yet acting tough.
I mean, so this book was written. I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
this book was written as an answer to West Side Story, because West Side Story glorified gangs in New York. And so this guy was like, that's not what it's like at all. It's like this. And he wrote this story. And West Side Story is teenagers. So basically it's supposed to be teenagers.
No, I get it. But it's not presented that way.
Right.
I mean, to me, you look at a movie like The Outsiders and it's a great movie, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like, Patrick Swayze's the only one that's actually a man and like looks the part of a gang member, someone that's dangerous, somebody that's got some life experience, like Swan and Ajax. It's just great, man. It's just great.
So, because I know we talk about eventually doing it sometime, your thoughts on Bad Boys with Sean Penn?
Yeah,
he didn't look tough. He looked like a kid.
Dude, Sean Penn would have fucking whooped both of our asses in a heartbeat in that movie. He looks tough, and the guy who plays his protagonist also plenty tough. Plenty tough.
But they look old. He looks older.
Tweety.
He shouldn't be. Yeah.
I mean, and Viking, these guys all look 20-something to me.
That's what I'm saying. They're supposed to be teenagers in a youth facility. They're not supposed to be in their 20s. That's what I'm saying. You prove my point. Everybody looks too old for what they're supposed to be playing.
But here's the problem. In that movie, let's say they all look like the little kid that got tossed off the pier, off the tower. You don't have a movie. You don't have a movie. You don't have a movie. Like, that little kid comes out swinging a fucking pillowcase with Pepsi cans, and like it's knocking him over because he's got no upper body strength.
Still one of the best fucking scenes ever. Love that.
Ever. Top 5 best scenes ever.
Just
I
Clancy
still get
Brown taking a fucking sack to the face.
Oh,
done.
Hey,
so good.
Scumbag. It's so good. I say we do it next. It's
boy.
It's a motherfucker. Delano, please.
You want me to go ahead?
I thought the fire was a great plot device to trap them in the city too. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the Warriors' celebration at making it onto the train is short-lived when the fire makes the train stop and go out of service. They have no choice but to make their way to the next station on foot. This will take them through the orphans' territory. I also thought it was interesting that one of the guys says, I don't think we should be worried about the fire. We should be worried about who set the fire. Because obviously they're trying to get them off the train. The orphans don't know about the contract on the warriors, and their leader tells them that they can move through the territory if they come in peace. However, his girlfriend Mercy begins taunting him. The leader's manhood is now insulted, so he orders the warriors to remove their gang colors if they want to proceed through the territory. Swan refuses in no uncertain terms, and the orphans leave. The orphans leave while the warriors march on. The curious Mercy tails the warriors only to get caught. She claims to want some real action. Just then, the orphans show up again, armed and ready to rumble. Swan throws a Molotov cocktail at a car, and the orphans are chased off as the warriors make it to the train station with Mercy. She seems determined to stick around for the ride, at least for now. The DJ passes on the news of the orphans' defeat. Luther gets another update that the warriors are making their way through and that the cops are out to get every gang in the city. He's really enjoying the chaos he's sown at this point. I'm not sure if this is right when they do that scene at the little store with the girl and he throws the candy bar at her, but it's like, oh my God, he's fucking nuts.
He's fucking insane.
For what?
Go ahead, Tony.
No, just for what?
For what?
He literally vomits out every line that he has.
Yeah,
it's like, having a good time. It's like, it's guttural. He's just such a slime. Oh, he's so good.
I absolutely love him. So the warriors have to take their vests off. They're trying to get home. They're going to fucking get killed. Like, we're going to die. If we don't take these off, we're going to die at this point. Like, we've already lost 2 members. Do you understand
what would happen to these guys if they took their colors off to run home? The amount, like, literally the warriors would have no power, no say, no nothing, because everyone would be like, you're a bunch of pussies.
Yeah, so here's the deal.
Wimps.
Nobody knows who the fuck these guys are. There's no Facebook, there's no Twitter, there's no nothing. Nobody knows who these guys are. All they know is they're called the Warriors. And they're from
Word spreads, man.
Yeah, so here's the deal, okay? Take the jackets off. Let's make a little fucking bonfire. When we get back to Staten Island, we'll fucking make up a new name and get some new vests. Let's go home. Warriors are done. That's it. That's it. Even if you make it back to Staten Island, like, what did they think was going to happen? They were going to get there and the Riffs weren't going to come and find them. They were just going to go back to bopping around the streets of Coney Island. No, they're going to get there and the Riffs are going to be waiting to chop their fucking heads off. It's over. Warriors don't exist anymore. Burn the vests. That's it. Orphans, gross, dirty, green shirts, smelly wearing. Like, these guys are like
dirty.
They're like the part of your dad's load that ran down your mom's leg. Like, these guys are underdeveloped, like, just runts. They're bizarre.
Guy looks like David Schwimmer. Every time I watch him, like, it's fucking guy from Friends. It's the fucking guy from Friends with a lazy eye. He had a stroke on the day in the set. Half his face fell. We got to film anyway. We got a budget, and they're fucking out the door.
He's just want to see him standing there going, pivot.
Oh shit! Oh my God! Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, they're the first. It's the intro level. It's level 1 gang. You know, they got to work their way up to the boss. So it's like, I get it. They're fun. You're so, it's like Fox tries to, like, placate them because you realize they're not smart. They're not catching on. They're like, and they're almost out of it. And then Mercy comes down. I love her in this movie. She is such a great character.
She's a great character, and it's such a subtle cat and mouse love story between her and Swan, how it builds. And, we're going to find out a little bit later that she is a gang groupie. And that's what she is, like how some groupies follow, rock stars around and their little badges. I liked it. She says, I like to know who I'm fucking so I can tell people who I fucked. And he's like, you're disgusting. You've got a mattress on your back. But he is continuously trying to elevate her to girlfriend status. Like, he's like, you're undercutting yourself. You're being a slut. Why do you want to be like this? There's a couple of lines that, like at the end when he gives her the flowers, why are you giving this? Because I don't like to see good things go to waste. I mean, that's a metaphor for her. He's saying, you're better than this. And we find out immediately that Swan is sweet on Mercy, because when Ajax steps in, he says, he flexes on him. Don't fuck with her.
Yeah.
Period. And, even after she blows them up in front of the orphans, and she's the direct reason they have to take off their colors to go through, Swan still invites her along. He's sweet on her. And I think it's a very sweet love story. And I think we get a couple of shots in the movie that are very touching between these two. Like, it's really good for a movie that's this wacko. So, yeah.
Yeah. I did not care for the way anybody treated Mercy through the movie, but I also understand that was kind of the time, and that was kind of the place, you know?
I
And
thought
that's kind
their
of what was.
interactions were sweet. I really did. I mean, when there were so many times, like, would you have rather had Swan like bang her on the fucking dirty rocks in the subway tunnel?
No. I don't mean it like that at all. Come on now. You know
Like
I don't
he's
mean that.
continuously, I feel like Swan is continuously trying to tough love her into like knocking off the shit. He's like saying, "You're better than this. Why are you acting
Yeah,
like this?"
I know what you're saying. It
Yeah.
just I feel like at some points they're really rough with her, and I don't care for it. But that's just me. That's just me.
Could it be because you're a lady?
I mean, that could be part of it. I don't think I'd like to be treated the way they treat her. So, you know.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. It is definitely the time, but they were definitely, she was looked at as property.
Yes.
You know, it's just a matter of who was going to take it home that night. That's all. And she owned it, and she wore it on her sleeve. She didn't hide who she was.
Yeah.
And she started the shit, and the orphans, you know, they did.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I guess that's the time to move on.
I guess so. All right. The train at the 96th Street station is not moving, and when police officers show up, they take off running. During this escape, they split into 3 separate groups. Fox and Mercy run down the platform. A cop comes from behind one of the pillars and tackles Fox. Fox yells at Mercy to run away, and in the struggle, the cop talks. Oh boy, this is tough. The cop tosses Fox onto the tracks, where he is killed by an oncoming train. Mercy is running in the other direction, and she does not see Fox's death. Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt manage to evade the police and board a subway train to Union Square, the agreed-upon meeting place if they're split up. Ajax, Swan, Snow, and Cowboy also outrun the police, only to run right into the baseball Furies. The 4 warriors take off running, and the chase continues into Riverside Park. The warriors are able to get the upper hand by splitting up and flanking them. They succeed in disarming them, beating them, and taking the bats, leaving the Furies out cold. The DJ announces the baseball Furies' defeat and disparages all the gangs for their poor performance. Baseball Furies, the baseball Furies are like the thing you remember about this movie, like Tony said earlier. And I forgot just how easily they got their asses whooped. I was a little disappointed.
They weren't very good with those baseball bats.
No.
I mean, the bat is not a great weapon anyway.
But at least have some savvy with it, you know?
Like they should have been able to spin them a little bit like Kellegard, you know what I mean? Like the girls used to do with the wooden rifle. Like I want to see some swirls and some tricks.
Oh,
shit. They sucked. They totally sucked. But man, they had cool colors.
They were, I guess they were kind of based after Kiss a little bit. Like it was sort of an influence on them when they were getting this makeup together. I thought that was pretty cool. Rembrandt reminded me a little of a young Paul Stanley, right? Like you put Paul Stanley's makeup on Rembrandt and you're there. I liked the decision to kill Fox because it keeps the movie a little edgier and a little more dangerous. I liked when they were killing people off instead of always being like, oh, he got arrested or, you know, he got lost. No, they kill him. It's great. And you know that they killed him because the actor that played him and the director were at such loggerheads. There were some pushing fights between the two of them on set. And he was finally like, I can't fucking deal with you anymore. I'm writing you out of the movie right now. And he was like, fine, do it. And if you look at the scene, that's not even the actor going down the stairs and being thrown in front of the train. That's another actor. So
the actor is the one from his radio in the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Fox's radio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, totally.
That's the only 2 things I think he's been in.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, there's no way not to love the Furies. I mean, the fucking Furies. It's just like it's the iconic image from this movie. You know, it's just the makeup, the style. It just
a fucking college baseball team.
I mean, I will say, like, they're running behind the Warriors, and they take the baseball bats and put the fat end in the palm of their hand. So they're running like this with the thing. And I'm like, that's clever, because if you're running with the thing out, it's going to slow you down. It's going to be pulling your arm. I was like, it appears like they've been dealing with these bats for some time and understand what's going on. And then they get flanked by 4 dudes and get whooped. And I'm like,
yeah, they're wimps. Total wimps.
I forgot.
Dude, when Ajax puts when the guy puts the arm out and Ajax is standing in front of him and you get the I was like, oh yeah, here we go. That was some good shit. That was some good shit.
Oh,
right.
boy. Oh, poor baseball furies. All right. So meanwhile, Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt have arrived at Union Square to wait for the others. They see a group of 6 women giving them come hither looks. Cochise and Vermin can't believe their luck in finding attractive girls who seem to want to party with them. Only Rembrandt, the youngest warrior, senses the danger. They go to the group's clubhouse, and the leader identifies them as the Lizzies, an all-girl gang, and says that they want to get down with the warriors because they've heard of their reputation. In reality, they're trying to trap them. The 3 dodge bullets and knives and escape. The Lizzies had mentioned that the warriors were wanted for killing Cyrus, and they finally realized that every gang in the city is actually looking for them more than just, the truce being off. They're actually looking to kill them. Swan and his crew continue walking through the park. Ajax decides to stop and be a total asshat and harass a woman. The other 3 leave, and the woman is an undercover, and she handcuffs him to the bench and calls the cops with a whistle. Snow and Cowboy decide to go back to look for Ajax, and Swan continues on to the station alone. There, he runs into Mercy again, and after running for the cops, they have a little heart-to-heart where Swan insults her, but she still seems to like him, so, guys.
Dude.
Wow. That's an ending right there.
Yeah.
That is not how this goes down in the park. This cop is
well, that's how I
entrapping
saw it.
Ajax. He's like he's running, like trying to go away. She's like, hey, you want some wool? I've got some free wool here. I'm looking to party with
That
a
is
young,
not what happens
hot
at all.
dude."
They walk past, and
Yeah.
he says, I'm going back, because you see that? It's not safe to be in the park at night. Don't you know that? He goes back and goes after her. That is all on him.
No,
She's
Tony.
not like, ooh.
Yeah,
It's not
she's
like that at
exactly
all.
what she's like. She's like,
It's
woo, woo,
not.
come here. She's like, you don't want it? I got you want it, don't you? Come on, Tony.
No.
She's a star fucker. She's a star fucker. That's what she was. Totally a star fucker. That's all she is.
This is 100% entrapment. Poor Ajax.
Yeah, you got totally fucked. She literally says, everything you're not supposed to do is what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. She's entrapping this poor young man.
Innocent until proven guilty.
And again, I'm thinking he would have kicked that board with one shot of his mighty boot.
Right?
And been off with a pair of handcuffs, I enjoy the cat and mouse here between Swan and Mercy. It's a tiny little love story in this movie. It's just works perfectly. It's such a slow burn, and it really it blooms at the end of the movie for me and makes me feel good. There's no way the Lizzies don't kill at least one of the warriors in this clubhouse.
Worse shots next to stormtroopers. My God.
There was a scene where Vermin is killed by one of the Lizzies. And
yes.
They thought that the character was so likable that they cut the scene. Huge mistake. First of all, I didn't love the character of Vermin. He was one of the goofier ones for me. And I think that if they had let him die, it would have just raised the stakes more. Yeah. I think letting him escape was a huge mistake.
No, I think that he could have gone.
I agree. I'm bummed I didn't know about that scene. I think I totally should have left that in.
Totally. I don't know if it actually was ever shot or
it was. It was shot.
Oh, it was actually shot.
Yes.
I just read that he had done a couple jokes on screen that had worked well, so they were like, let's keep this guy. He seems to be doing good.
Yeah, no, it hurt the movie there at that moment. We needed another one to die.
Because did we jump by the turnbull ACs chasing them yet, or we?
Yes, that happened way back at. Yeah.
Okay, that's the one fucking terrifying scene in this movie to me.
With the van, with that van,
a van full of fucking skinheads.
Yes.
Maybe it's because it's too close to real life for me. Being a fucking musician, it's like having to Green Room is a fucking life story for me at this point. I don't know if you guys have seen Green Room yet.
No, I haven't.
All right, that's going to be one of my choices coming up. It's just the sight of hanging off the short bus and swinging the chains, and it was terrifying. Like, that scene was the most realistic fear in this movie.
Yes. And dude, what made it so good was you see the van go by the first time and they haven't seen them. And you're like, oh shit. But then the van turns around at the end of the street, still hasn't seen them, coming back, and they have to make the choice. Do we hide and miss the train, or do we go for it? And this is where we get another character building moment for Ajax, because the rest of the Warriors fly up the stairs. Ajax waits at the bottom of the stairs just long enough to say fuck you and give them the finger. He's a badass, because I would have been up the stairs.
Because he's also the last one in on every train. He's making sure everybody else gets in before he does, because he's the muscle. Yeah.
So, fun little story. So, I had a little friend that was from Woburn. His name was John. He ended up actually moving out to San Francisco with me, and he wasn't cut out for it. He was a stonewash boy, and he got mugged in the middle of the day on Market Street. He was saved by a fucking fireman in the middle of the afternoon, and he was so afraid that the guy who mugged him was going to find out who he was and fucking come and kill him that he went home. I go back to Woburn. I'm scared. Sorry if you're listening, John, but you should have stayed. You should have stayed. We had good times. But so before any of this had happened, when we were probably about like 16, 17, he was staying over at my house, and we were in Weymouth at the time, and we were drinking and thinking we were badass. And these girls had come with a car. There was like 2 or 3 girls. I don't remember exactly. So we were drinking, hanging out with these girls, and a car came up behind us. We were driving through our neighborhood, and this car came up behind us, and we were all like, fuck you to the car. They were kind of like trying to, scoot us along, give us high beams. We're like, fuck you. So they followed us down the street, and we stopped, and they stopped. And these older boys got out of the car. And
teenagers.
But yeah, they were a little older than us, and they were drunk. And I remember them coming up to the car and seeing my hair and his hair and being like, we're going to fucking cut your hair. And he's fucking like reaching in the car, trying to like pull me out of the car. And I'm kicking at him. And they're like, we're cutting your hair. Now it's happening. We're kicking your ass and cutting your hair, which, Tony, was like your worst nightmare at that age. Like, I've been growing this hair. You're not cutting my hair. So listen to this. So the girl gets out of the car in the passenger seat, and the guys come over, and she's like, leave them alone. Leave us alone. And the guy punches her in the face as hard as he can and knocks her out completely. Like she's out on the street in front of the car. And the guy's other friends are like, what the fuck are you doing? Get in the fucking car. And then neighbors start coming out from the houses, and they speed off, right? And the girls say, get the fuck out of the car to me and my friend. And we're like, what? No. They're like, get the fuck out of the car. We're fucking leaving. So she scoops her little friend up off the street, puts her in the passenger seat. She drives off. So now me and my friend are like, oh my God, these assholes are now hunting, and we're stranded here on the street. We ran, ducking behind bushes, ducking behind cars, till we got back to my house. Frantic as can be. Yeah.
That was your Warriors night, huh?
Yeah, Warriors in Weymouth. Okay. Oh, shit. I did not get my hair cut on that evening, though.
Where are we in the movie? What's going on?
I have no idea.
Okay, so Swan continues on to Union Square, and Mercy follows him. The punks spot Swan on the subway platform and hang around waiting for their chance. The rest of the living Warriors meet up just in time for a huge fight in the men's room, because that's what you do. Mercy aids them, and they win the fight. Back at Rift's headquarters, Messiah is told that there's a new witness who really saw who shot Cyrus. The 6 remaining Warriors board the final train home, with Mercy still in tow. 2 young couples in evening dress come home from a school prom and present such a contrast to Swan and Mercy that Swan takes pity on Mercy and clumsily signals to her that he accepts her. One of them drops a flower, and Swan picks it up and gives it to Mercy once they reach Coney Island. The scene in Union Square with the punks, these guys are in tough skins. I just can't. I'm not afraid of them. They look like Chucky dolls. I'm not scared.
You know what's weird? I remember
fucking terrifying.
That's hillbillies is scary, but
I remember this entire band being in roller skates. It was one of those like Mandela effect moments where
it's
I was
another
like,
band.
oh, sorry, this gang in roller skates. I thought they all were wearing roller skates. I don't know why, because when I watched the movie, I was like, what? Only one of them are wearing roller skates? Really great. It was just the witness dropping the line about the witness. It's a great setup for the final scene. When we finally going to see the riffs on the beach, and you have in the back of your mind, who are they here for? You know, and it's just, it's great. And then this scene on, did we talk about the preppies on the train, or is that coming up?
Yeah, I just said it.
Okay. Yeah, this class division, this one scene, it's so powerful, and it's one of the ones that always stands out to me in my mind. And this is where we see Swan really starting to care for Mercy. You know, she goes to kind of like move her hand. He just suddenly puts his hand on her. He's like, "Don't be ashamed if you are. Fuck these guys. You know, just be yourself. We're good." And it's like a really strong, you feel how uncomfortable these preppies are and how uncomfortable, you know, Mercy is, but how comfortable Swan is in his own skin. And that's where him being like a 30-year-old man kind of played better than if it had been like some 17-year-old kid. It just wouldn't have been as powerful for me. I love this scene. It's just really great. It's just really great to me. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I appreciate, you know, she's kind of like doing this, like moving her hair because she's uncomfortable. I mean, in the shot that they give you up her legs, her feet are dirty, her shoes are scuffed, her dress is ripped. She's got the stain on the pink shirt. She's in the stolen jacket. It's like,
yeah, you know why they added the jacket? They added the jacket because she had actually broken her wrist in shooting, and she was wearing a cast. So they had to add it for the last like quarter of the movie. Yeah,
so smart, so smart.
I did not realize that. I knew that the actor, Michael Beck, that plays Swan, accidentally hit her in the head with a baseball bat, and she ended up getting stitches. And a
lot of people got hurt in the making of it.
And they said that to this day, she still has a scar where he hit her with the baseball bat.
So the fight between the punks and the warriors in the bathroom, first of all, some great lines, you know, there's some guys following. He's like, yeah, now they know that we know, you know, great line. You know, she's like, I'm down. I'm going to fight. I can hold my own. And, you know, you can see she's just growing on Swan, and he's just, the respect is growing for this girl. He totally digs her. He wants to make this girl his girlfriend, but he has to break her of being a gang whore. And he's going to, by the end, he's going to break this wild stallion. And I like this little subplot. So I've heard on another podcast, a couple of the guys, like a martial artist, girlfriend's a martial artist. So she notices that all of the guys in the punks are, or whatever they're called, they're all right-handed except for the roller skater, or one of them. So they go into the bathroom and they go into the stalls. When they kick the door open, the door hits their right arm. And that fucking puts them down to just one arm, their left arm. And then the last guy goes to the stall and he kicks the door open and gets the paint in the face. So it kind of seemed like they purposely did this as a strategy. I don't know how much I buy into it, but I thought it was an interesting observation.
It sounds like a stretch, but it is really cool to notice. I'll go like, wow, that's a lot of attention to detail that they sat and go like, wow, did you notice that happened?
Great fight, though. Great fight.
It was really good for you know, this movie is not known for its stunts. It's like, that was, you know, a better fight than the Baseball Furies.
Yeah,
I mean, the throw up against the mirror, that's a good stunt.
It was competitive. I liked the give and take and the back and forth. It was a good, tough gang. But like, I was watching a interview with the guy that played Swan, and he's like, look, we couldn't lose every fight. Every fight couldn't be competitive because there'd be nothing left by the time we got to Coney Island. Like, we had to have a couple of gangs that were just pushovers and rollovers. So I was glad.
I didn't take that. I thought they put up probably the best fight, though.
Yes.
That was the thing. Yeah. It's like they're the ones who kicked their ass. When they get back, they had the scars.
Yeah. So I mean, but if they had gone through 3 gangs like that, there would have been nothing left by Coney Island. These guys would have been fucking dog meat, haggard. Right?
The subway scene. I again, I'm right there with you. Love that scene. It's the fact that Swan doesn't blink. He's staring at them. He doesn't look anywhere else. It's this laser, like, come on, look me in the eye. Look me in the eye. And, you know, it doesn't even look at her when he lowers her hand. It's like, no, they're not better than us.
Yeah.
And watching the preppies, like, go from, hey, happy, to, like, the totally, like, we let's get after the next one. You know they weren't gonna. Let's get after the next one. This is too weird. Aside from, obviously, a prom, what prom is he getting out at 4 a.m? Because this is now at least 6 hours into the night.
Yeah.
But again,
I was
whatever.
really glad that they chose to not do the trope of the college or the high school kids like making fun of the dirty warriors and the dirty girl and not really looking down on them. It almost felt like they felt bad for them. They felt uncomfortable because they were clean and they had privilege. And it almost made them feel uncomfortable and sorry for these people. And I like that they chose to go that route instead of having them snickering and just being fucking pricks. You know what I mean? And maybe even having something break out between Swan and these, preppy guys. Like, I'm so glad they didn't go that route. And I thought the shot of her falling asleep, them being there and her falling asleep and then her waking up and opening her eyes and
Minute
them
there.
being gone, I thought that
It's
was
like
so
it's
good.
like she wished them away.
Yeah, it was so good. And then dropping the flower, the super clean flower that Swan is going to pick up, presumably, and hide for the, this final shot. Oh, it's so good when he hands her this pristine flower that she wanted. She saw them drop the flower. She looks right at it. Nobody's ever given her anything like that before. She's never been to a prom or had a date or a corsage. Oh, and it's just so powerful when he fucking gives it to her. I almost cried.
Did you call it a
cried.
croissant?
Yeah,
I
when he
was
gives her
waiting
that
for croissant
croissant,
to happen.
when he gives her that
I
croissant, that flaky golden
if
brown.
somebody gives me a croissant as a gift, I'm down. So
Listen, I cry every time I eat a Pepperidge Farm croissant.
Oh man!
Nice way to take the power out of my description of this scene.
yeah, I know. I was also gonna when
sweet.
you were talking about how they feel bad for them. I was gonna be like, "Hey kids, look at all the plight."
You noticing all this play? But no, but I mean, but this is the moment where he says to her, "Be my girlfriend." She says, "Okay." Why are you giving this? Why did you save this? I don't like to see anything good go to waste. And he hands it to her, and that's it. In my mind, these two spend every single day together from this moment on for at least the rest of the summer. This is a hot and heavy relationship.
It just makes it to the end of the summer and then it's
Well,
done.
That's every high school relationship.
Yeah. How many times have you been in love and it's like you spend every minute together for like 3 months, then you're like, I fucking hate you. Or she's like, I'm dating Bobby now. Been fucking him for 2 weeks. And then you lose like 7 pounds and you hang out in front of her house for like 2 weeks.
Wow, this is very specific.
You go back to Rocky. You start going to parties. It's like,
Okay, it happened. I lived it.
Oh God. All right.
Let's finish this thing strong.
Let's do it. The Warriors of Mercy walk through the deserted Coney Island streets only to realize that Luther and the Rogues are following them in a hearse. With no time to... P.S. That car is fucking awesome.
Dude, they're the best fucking rock band ever. These guys play fucking Metal Night on Wednesdays. It wasn't said, but these guys are like fucking incredible.
Oh my God,
Love
the hearse with the graffiti on it. Mwah, just love it. With no time to contact other members to come to their defense, the Warriors take shelter under a dock. Swan now has a switchblade he took from the punk leader, and the others arm themselves with what's around. Luther makes an ominous rattling sound with the beer bottles and chants, "Warriors, come out to play," because that's the best line in the movie.
Yes.
Swan leads his crew and Mercy out to the beach, and the Rogues follow. Finally, face to face, Swan asks Luther why he killed Cyrus, to which the crazed Luther replies, "No reason, I just like doing things like that," which is he's just a fucking psychopath. When Luther pulls a gun on Swan, he manages to flick his knife into Luther's wrist, disarming him. At that moment, the Gramercy Riffs appear in force on the beach. They're no longer looking for the Warriors, they're looking for Luther and the Rogues. Masai praises the Warriors and makes an exit path for them. They file out to Luther's screams. As the DJ announces that the alert is canceled, the 6 surviving Warriors walk down their hometown beach, and it's the end.
So Luther fucking framed this character after a neighbor that he had. He was living in New York and he had a neighbor that robbed him actually. And he says he basically, oh no, he was homeless. After this guy robbed him, the actor that played Luther was actually homeless in New York City. During the shooting of this movie, he was
God.
He was like right in this time, he was going from the shitty apartment he was living in to staying at like, I think it was like the Gramercy Motel or something. like while the shooting was going on, and this guy like existed. He's like, I had this psychopath neighbor that actually talked like this because it's fun, and like this crazy ass neighbor. And yeah, so that's where all of this came from. I feel like I missed an opportunity in the mid to late 80s, early 90s. Like, I should have started a band called the Rogues. It's so obvious.
Tony was in a band called Rogue.
Oh, well, touche. Dude, did you see the outfit?
Do you do your fucking history?
I mean, we played with you guys. I should have remembered. Did you see the outfit Luther was wearing on the beach? These button-up fucking cool pants with the boots and the leather. He's
Phil
incredible.
Lewis. He is Phil Lewis.
He
Those
is Phil
pants
Lewis.
with the buttons up the side, with the vest. Yeah, come on.
No,
and the
cowboy
headband,
boots.
he's Phil Lewis.
Oh, it's so incredible. Tony, do you want to plug that song you sent me? So Tony did a song called The Warriors, right?
Tony and his little friends wrote a song.
Tony.
Oh, no.
So he wrote and recorded this song. I don't know. He wrote and recorded this song with a punk side project. I don't know. He sent it to me. I was very impressed. It's modeled after the Warriors. It's like, it's really good. So it's called The Warriors.
Is it on YouTube?
Really good.
Viper Rash. Viper Rash is the band, not Diaper Rash. Viper. You get run by a snake wrong. It's Viper Rash, and it's called The Warriors. I wrote it.
Okay,
check it out.
So go to YouTube.
Me and George.
Viper Rash, The Warriors. It's worth a listen. And they also did one for Fight Club that I thought was even better. Fucking that dude, the
Project
one
Man, bitches.
dude, what's the line? You repeat it like 5 times in a row. It's so good.
Oh, his name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson. I was fucking loving it. I thought it was really good.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, touche. Nice job. Yeah, all the shots in Coney Island, they're all incredible. This is all beautiful, and it was all shot at like daybreak out there. Like Dylan said, the black hearse, the Rogues, the bottles, this is all pop culture now. It's all, it's incredible. Seeing the Warriors.
He actually came up with that line. The Warriors come out and play. Mm-hmm. He actually, the director's like, I can't think of anything cool. Do something that's going to be good. I'm sure you saw the same documentary.
Yeah,
it's just, he what was it? He went off for 5 minutes, thought about his neighbor, and came up with the. Because he used to call him, David.
David. Yeah, and he wanted him to sing something. The director was like, maybe incorporate some singing or something, and that's what he came up with the bottles. And oh, fuck, is it good?
And that's an eerie sound when he's just sitting in the car doing this with the tick. It's like, dude, that's creepy. It's almost like battle drums. It was a really, really incredible moment, and I honestly feel like the knife flick into his wrist was a little cheap. I know you guys are going to hate me for saying that. I thought that was cheap.
So hold on.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, all right. So first of all, to see the Warriors on their home turf, leading everybody around where they want them, finally leading them down to the beach, it's great. So they had actually made you saw this, Tony, a fake arm that had a switchblade that popped out of it. They said it looked bad. Then they had Luther, the actor, actually hold a half a switchblade and just kind of whip it into his arm, like kind of hold it there. I thought it looked great. And I guess this fucking blows up the old saying, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight, because Swan did, and he won. And, they say that this has a lot of like old Western vibe to it,
Okay.
And I thought this was an amazing showdown. I thought it was great. It showed how quick and slick fucking Swan was. And I loved this final scene. And then you just know that the Rogues are brutally and ruthlessly torn to pieces on that beach. And it's great. And then the song ends with the Eagles. Oh, I've got the feels. That song kicks in. I've got the feels. Oh, in the city.
That's a great song for the end of it.
It is.
That guitar riff just goes with the movie.
Oh, it's magic. I cried twice with the croissant. When Swan gives Mercy the croissant, I cried. And then when this Eagle song kicks in, I cried tears of joy. Oh,
See, I
Tony.
guess another stupid question I have is like, all right, so there's 9 representatives from all the gangs across the city. Where is everybody? Where are the rest of the Warriors waiting for them on the platform? They should be getting like, hey, you made it home, thank God.
No,
Yeah,
they're
we heard
listening
it
to
on
the
the
radio.
radio.
No, Tony, they're listening to the radio. They've already burnt their vests. They're already like they're at home like with a pad of paper. They're like, how about the badasses? How about the
Yeah. No,
like
I agree with Tony. I figure they're coming home into their home turf. They should be like to me, okay, it's time to rewrite it. To me, the end scene is the rogues come in and all the warriors come over on top of the buildings and it's fucking on the
It's
rogues.
300, 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
That's the way I would end it. Because
See,
they're now in their home turf and all the rest of the warriors are at home like, wee, 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 wee. Like, come
Yeah.
on, guys.
No, that's
all right, see,
no, that's how it goes.
I'm going darker. I'm going the fact that they get off the train and they go down to like their hideout,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the other warriors are hung in the rafters, and in walk the
Oh.
Riffs. They've already
Nice.
killed the entire rest of their gang, and that's the only ones they couldn't find. That's why they've been searching for them. And then the rogues come in, and then they get the word, and blah blah blah. But either way, I've always like,
Oh,
why
that's
aren't the rest of the rogue?
That's dark, dude.
That's
Yeah,
dark
dude,
as
it's
shit,
like-
man.
Have you told your therapist about this ending? 'Cause
Oh, I
that's
gave up on
fucked
therapy.
up.
Can't you fucking tell?
Holy shit. Oh man, that's awesome. All right, I think we did it.
We've done did
let's,
it.
Let's recast it.
Wait,
I've
no.
got it.
We have
No.
not talked about how gorgeous this fucking movie is.
Oh,
I know you
that's-
touched on it like it looks like the 70s. It's like, but the thing is, you would not known this wasn't like a listing movie.
Yes.
The way that the way they lit every shot, like you said, the part with the baseball Furies, they literally had clip lamps in the
Yeah.
trees because the park they wanted to shoot in didn't have any light. I would not have known that. I went back and rewound it. I'm like, all right, let's see. It looks like park lights. You
Totally.
just
There's
accept it.
There's an in particular scene in the beginning in the very beginning, where it shows the warriors walking up a beach ramp and the sun is coming up behind it and they're basically just silhouetted. It's
Yep.
fucking beautiful. It's
So I'm saying,
beautiful.
like, they did great cinematography in this July movie. You know, that's the only way
Yes.
you can put it. It's like it's a summer throwaway movie. We don't expect a lot to come out of it, but it looks like a fucking $1 million.
And the
Like
and
they
the
did
use
so good.
the use of spraying the streets down with the water and then using just enough neon to give it like this, but not overdoing it to where it's
Not
like
Streets
all
of Fire.
right.
It.
Like Streets
Yeah.
of Fire. It borrowed but didn't. It never jumped the shark. Oh,
It was realistic while still looking extravagant for what it needed
Fun.
to. So yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you saw every bit of dirt on that subway fucking door.
yeah.
It's
But
like
you can't.
the juxtaposition between the purity and the filth. I know you said it earlier, but it's like literally that door was grimy. The corner was black, and here's this
Yeah.
white corsage, not croissant, corsage just laying there, and it was a beautiful shot. So I mean,
Yeah.
they just. I wanted to make sure I got that before we stopped.
Yeah, but I mean, even using these scenes, like you said, with like with the streets and the neon and with the light, you have to because this movie is so dirty. You are in no danger of making it look overfluffed. Like you needed a little polish. This thing is filthy. It's filthy. Oh boy.
Okay,
Agreed.
recasting.
Okay, let's recast it. So I've got a great one. I am going to replace Vermin, played by one Terry Michos, with Cody, played by Michael Parr in Streets of Fire.
Oh,
so I'm
God.
taking out
Paré.
Vermin. His
Michael
name
Paré.
isn't even Vermin. His name is just going to be Cody. Yeah, Paré.
Michael Parr.
John Paré. No, but seriously, imagine Cody. It's just Cody. It's not even Vermin. It's just Cody, and it's Michael Parr. Hey.
I wouldn't germ this movie up with fucking Streets of Fire. I
He's
had a
too
hard
good
time
looking.
with this. He is. I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna go Vermin for Tony Danza.
No, the guy Vermin, he was a good-looking actor. He looked like a young fucking Richie Sambora.
Oh my god, he does.
Okay.
Oh, and they're from Jersey. That's perfect. I went the easy way, and I put Cyrus should be Samuel L. Jackson. I would love to see Samuel
Yeah.
preaching that whole thing. you know, that's what it would be if we made it today. It's like 10 guys or mountain guys. It's like hearing him deliver that. I'm in. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
I'll take
Oh,
it.
You motherfucking dig it. I got it.
I'm going
Great. Good
to
one.
recast Swan, and it's probably low hanging fruit, but I want to put Matt Dillon in there. I think
Yeah.
I'd appreciate a little bit of a younger
Fuck
Swan,
yeah.
and I think Matt Dillon would have done a really great job.
It's fucking
fair.
badass. It's a badass pick. But
Rumblefish Matt Dillon,
Yeah, Rumblefish Matt Dillon. Rusty James.
Or like Urban Cowboy Matt Dillon.
No, and dude, and let's change his
Was
name
Urban
from
Cowboy?
Swan.
Was he in Urban Cowboy? That was John Travolta.
That was John Travolta.
Not
You're
Urban
thinking
Cowboy.
of
What's the other one?
Tex.
Outsiders.
No.
Tex.
The one who put the goddamn hat on the bed. What's that? Drugstore Cowboy.
Drugstore Cowboy. No. If anything, from
That's the quote. That is the fucking quote.
That's the quote.
Yeah, it could be from his character in The Outsiders. He was great, perfect age, or Tex, great. Yeah, or any of those. Matt Dillon's so fucking great, and I would call him Rusty James. Like fuck Swan, just call him Rusty James. One of my favorite names ever. Like Rusty James, as tough as it gets. That's it.
Is it?
Sorry, Chest Rockwell.
No, that is
That's
gay.
the best name ever, Chest Rockwell.
Like if somebody was like, if I had to fight some dude I didn't know, and they were like, "So what's his name?" His name is Rusty James. I'd be like, "I'm gonna pass."
You kidding me? Just put on some line dancing music and
I
watch
got
him
another
live
quick.
away.
I got another quick fun story. So when I was living in
shit.
Queen Anne's Gate, we lived in this apartment complex. Me and my friend Richie Keys, and we were doing like karate, nunchucks, throwing stars. I told the story about how we got busted for throwing stars into the doors and to shovel snow. We blamed it on a fake kid named Danny Schronix, but we broke under the pressure of questioning. So we had heard so funny. Yeah,
Schronix is my next band name. That's fucking great.
My name is Danny Schronix. My name is Danny Schronix.
No, it's the Danny Schronix. You kidding me?
So there was a couple of projects in the Weymouth area. They were like where the cool kids lived, where the tough kids lived. I wouldn't know if you'd actually call them like the projects, but they were apartment complexes where the tough kids lived. And I lived in Queen Anne's Gate where the pussy kids lived. So we heard there was going to be a rumble at the park in Weymouth, and it was a baseball diamond. So but we also heard it was going to be like these other pussy complexes with like younger kids. So me and Richie, we were like, we're going to go down there. We're going to spin kick. We're going to be fucking whooping ass. So we end up getting down to the park. And as we get right to the edge of the park, we can see there's probably about 15 or 20 kids there. We recognize most of them. I'm not going to mention names because I'm still scared of these guys. But anyway, we were like, uh-oh. So we turn around and we start running. And this group of kids chases us. And they caught up with us at the local video rental store, which is about a block from the park. It didn't take long for them to catch us. And they knew who I was. And they knew who Rich were. And they like slapped us in the face a couple of times. They were like, fucking go home, you pussies. And we're like, okay.
I can't wait to see how this relates to the Warriors.
I don't know.
It doesn't. I just want to tell you the story.
Doesn't. You just wanted to tell the story.
Okay.
How does it relate?
It doesn't. It's a gangs. I don't know. Gangs.
And there's your cat.
Okay. Let's do some final thoughts and a rewatch score.
All right.
Tony, you go first. I want to know what you're scoring this.
This movie, I will always watch the rest of this movie when this is on. I'll never turn this off. If I'm flipping, oh, Warriors, fuck, I'm stuck. High rewatch. I mean, I don't think there's anyone who watches movies with me who hasn't seen this. I've shown everybody I could. It's just, it's a classic. It's a good versus evil. It's comical enough. It's satirical enough that the people who don't like pure all action, it crosses genres, is what I'm saying. I'm going to give it this is a big one. I'm going to give it a 4.95.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge. Dylan, talk about it.
Do you really want me to go next?
Yep. Because I want to know what I'm going to have to do to keep the neighbors effect from fucking crushing this movie. I have a score written down here.
And
So-
it's up for review.
I mean, it can't go much higher than it already is. So let's just hear what you think.
Okay, well, to me, this is kind of middle of the road, and that's not saying that it's a bad movie. It's just not a movie that's for me specifically. I appreciate it. I do agree with the cinematography discussion we had. It's dated, but I mean, it is what it is.
In a good
but
way.
It's still better than a ton of movies that have been made since it. So I'm gonna give it a 3.75.
That's fine. I think from a lady, that's a fine score. I mean, this is what we get for bringing a lady onto the Warriors podcast. Okay, so I'm not going to change my score because it works. Your score wasn't that low. Love the movie. Even after 100 views, just same as Tony. If it comes on, I'm watching it to the end. It's fine. It looks great. It has heart. It has style. It has memorable characters. I mean, memorable characters. Like people that have never seen this movie recognize it when you see certain clips. When you say, come out and play, everybody knows it because it's great. Rewatch score 4.92. That was my original score.
Ooh.
Love it. Killer movie. Almost perfect. Yeah, really great. Delin, calculate those scores. Where does it land?
All right, hold on 1 second. I'm calculating.
Can you believe I fucked up the schedule again, Tony?
Yeah.
I can believe it. That's 100% you.
I saw your post. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? It's like, do I have to text him? I don't want to text
And
him.
I had pulled out my calendar and like made sure I did it all right. So when you sent me that, I went downstairs. I'm like, Delin, I did it again.
I did it again.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so this got a 4.54. That's what it got. And that puts it at number 14.
Oh.
And that means it is right under Big Trouble in Little China and right above The Lost Boys and Back to the Future.
No. No. This isn't as good as Back to the Future.
This is how it came out, kid.
I think that's a good place. It's classic.
It's right on par with Lost Boys. On parade with Lost Boys. And what was it? What was under it?
Lost Boys and Back to the Future.
And what was
right above it is Big Trouble in Little China.
This is better than Big Trouble in Little China for me.
I disagree. Wildly.
Wildly, Tony?
Wildly disagree.
Which is better?
I would say this is better than Big Trouble.
Yeah, this is more rewatchable. Awesome. All right.
Well, that's why we do the show, because we all have opinions.
We've done so many fucking movies. It's unreal now. All right. This week on Breaking Vinyl, we are breaking down Electric by The Cult. So we'll see how that goes.
That's a good one.
Great album. I believe it or not, I was a little bit surprised at the lead guitar playing on this album. I remembered it being a lot better.
Which songs are off this one? Is this Firewoman?
No, that's Temple.
No, that's Temple, but it's got a bunch of hits on it.
This is Love Removal Machine, the second?
Yes.
This is their second, right? All right,
yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but I remember, because I knew the guy's a great guitar player, but on this album in particular,
not so great. Sonic Temple is. Why didn't you guys do Sonic Temple?
I didn't pick it, feed it.
Oh, all right.
All right. We will be back next week with the movie that I promised you this week. I know you were all ready to hear Iron Eagle. But
sorry.
Yeah, it's how we know it's my fault, 100%. So next week we will be back with Pat. And we will be reviewing Iron Eagle, and we were going to take extra gummies, so it's extra stupid.
Wait, we have to take extra gummies for it to be extra stupid?
Tony, what do you think about doing Bad Boys next?
Sure.
Unless you want to mull some ideas over?
No, I'll do Bad Boys. There's always, dude, there's a million movies we could do.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting to them all.
All right. Let's plan on Bad Boys. I don't want to make the Lynn wildly uncomfortable.
Tell me when, though. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll hammer out a calendar and get back to you, and I'll take care of it instead of him.
We've got man on woman rape. We've got man on boy rape. We've got violent crimes. It's
1983, if I remember right. Man, it's gonna be crazy.
It sounds like a good time.
It's not. It's not a good time.
Yeah, Ali Sheedy looks uglier than she did when she got remade.
And we get what's his name from
which is a complete travesty that they the fucking
That's what I'm
makeover
saying.
Breakfast Club. How
That's
dare
why I
you?
said don't touch that.
We get Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He is Sean Penn's sidekick who gets
I didn't know that.
Killed in the opening scenes.
Oh, no kidding.
Spoiler alert.
I think it's too late.
Okay. All right, that's it. So until next time, I have one question for you. Can you dig it? Okay. Bye.